Can you talk to see if your sound comes? Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Everyone, welcome Angelina. First time on the stream.
That's right.
Welcome, everyone. We're gonna chill out today. Somewhat planned, unplanned stream. I hope nothing goes wrong, but
It's gonna go great.
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. But
League streamers or whatever. Actually, I'm not even offended that you call me a League streamer because Tyler One is literally the best chess player in the world right now.
oh my God, that's right. I still can't believe that happened.
That is so insane.
I till this day. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm gonna go to the media room. My experience with League is also, by the way, potato camp today. My experience with League is that I played with I think it was like Poppy or something, and then it was my first time, and then I get killed, and then I don't think I can repeat the words that I saw on that chat, but everyone was like, "Get good," and then I just never played it again.
Yeah, the real experience of League.
Okay, let me make sure the chat is visible on my stream. It's okay. Drink some water. Okay.
Can you teach me to draw a girlfriend? Go look it up on the internet, dog. Actually, we're on the internet. Shit, we are the internet. Crap.
All right. Let me see. Okay, so I need to open. Oh, God. See, I don't like when that happens. Okay. So CSP will happen is at my recents, it will clear it entirely, and then for the life of me, I can't figure out where stuff is.
What? That's so strange.
Yeah, because I depend a lot on. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna open the cloud service because it usually is good at locating stuff. There we go. Open Clip Studio Paint. Thank you.
Do you upload stuff onto the Clip Studio Paint cloud service at all?
I have been because I am moving between my home and my grandmother's place, and I have on her house. I have my laptop and my drawing, like my screen tablet, and at home I have my Intuos. So what I do is that I'll work during the day at home, and then I'll send it over the cloud, and then I'll just download it at her house and just continue working.
I see.
It doesn't do it automatically, so you have to like manually go in and sync it. I wish it would just do it automatically, but I do it. Like I've been doing it religiously, so
That's good. That's good.
let's see. Okay, so now I just have to do the window capture stuff. Where is Clip Studio? Yep, there we go.
I saw that you finished Saw's off guide poster recently.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I just hold on. It was just like I have like that and then other stuff to do before next week. So it's been like a very what's the word? Convention heavy month so far for me.
That's gonna be so cool though.
I'm really excited. I have my own poster that I made that I'm going to be there the whole time, tabling. So I'm just gonna give away like maybe every day like 2 posters, and I'm gonna try and sign stuff. And I'm thinking of offering commissions while I'm there at like a discounted rate. But I'm just taking my iPad. Hey, welcome to the stream, Pat Parallen.
Yeah, so
Nice to meet you.
me and Roz are gonna be at Offkai together.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Heck yeah. It's gonna be so cool meeting you and like a bunch of other people I know on the internet.
I have a list of things that I'm gonna bring from my hometown. So I know for your let me check the list that I have for YN people.
What? That's so cool. That's so nice. What?
Let me see. Oh yeah, okay. Off-Kai gifts. Okay, so I have for you and Sui, I have sweets. And then Jupiter as well. He was like, "Give me sweets." And I'm like, "Okay." For Mark, he wants cigars. And
yeah, of course, whatever. Bro's like, I don't have a nicotine addiction.
and then for two of my other friends that are not wine unrelated, I'm bringing sweets and coffee.
How nice, how nice. Maybe I gotta like find something to give to you, but like there's nothing cool in America really.
Yeah, we have like are you familiar with dulce de leche?
Yeah.
Do you like guava?
I love guava.
So we have like a block of dulce de leche with like filled with guava.
Wow, that sounds so good.
It's really good.
Taiwan grows a lot of guava, so the guava there is top notch.
Ooh. Yeah,
delish.
The only thing I've tried from Taiwan is like castella cake, and it wasn't even in Taiwan. It was when I was living in Japan.
Yeah. I mean, like Taiwan does produce a lot of sweets, to be honest.
Yeah, my ex went to Taiwan. It's like, I'm going to Taiwan. Do you want something? I don't know. Surprise me. And she brought like a suitcase full of sweets, and I'm like, this is all I bought from there. And I'm like, but I'm sure they have other things that you can bring over. And she's like, no, you can just. This is what I wanted to bring over. This is like their culture. I'm like,
to be honest though, like a big part of Taiwanese food are fruits and vegetables. Like they have a lot of really good produce because it's a tropical island.
mm-hmm.
So like you can't really bring that over the borders, I don't think.
No, it was the only thing that she could bring over. And like our difference in diet, it was that like she was like she was Korean, so her diet was like really vegetable heavy. And we had like arguments about this because I was like, I just want meat and some like green on my plate, and she was like, no, you need to eat more vegetables. She's like, I would eat a lot of rice. That I would do, and she taught me how to like get rice and then make for the entire week and put it in Ziploc bags and then put it in the freezer. And then all I would have to do is pull it out, and with the moisture, all I had to do was put it in the microwave for like a minute and a half, and then
I just leave it in the rice cooker the whole week. It's so bad. Don't do this if you're not Asian. You're gonna get food poisoning.
Yeah, don't do that. But I don't know, because eating a lot of rice, but the thing is, like here, they cook rice with oil, and it took years for like my family to stop using oil for cooking. Like
I see.
And then we ended up like using a lot of, because the thing is like, okay, we use oil to cook because they use like a big saucepan to make rice with oil, and then you get like a really hard rice at the bottom that is
the crunchy rice.
Yeah, so we call it kong kong, or like in English it would be like with. But it's a lot of people like really like it, and so I don't like it at all. I'm not really unless it's like fried rice, I'm okay with it. And like technically that is fried rice, but like if I'm eating like white rice, I really don't like the crispy rice that much.
Understandable.
I was a ketchup with rice kid, so.
No, me too. I love ketchup fried rice. It's kind of like my guilty pleasure. Like I don't want to tell people like, yeah, one of my favorite things to do is like fry rice with ketchup. Is like, what are you, 5?
You know, I have like a very distinct memory of. Do you remember the Shrek ketchup?
No, I never actually got any of it, but like people talk about it all the time, and I know what it is. So
we had growing up we had two types of ketchup. We had the Shrek ketchup, the Shrek ketchup, if you will, and then purple ketchup. Because it started with purple ketchup and then it became the Shrek ketchup. And I have a very vivid memory of eating like green rice, like neon green rice, and my mom's like, that does not look healthy. And I'm like, it was like really young. I was like, I don't know. It just tastes really good.
I mean, it probably tastes fine, but I hear stories about like how kids poop out like purple poo or something like that because of the food dye.
So very recently I got scared because this was like 3 months ago. I bought like a ton of Oreos, And then I like ate like an entire row by myself, which is don't do that. But when I went to the bathroom, it was like pure black, and I got really scared, and like I even like I sent a WhatsApp to my doctor, and I was like, "Is this okay?" And this was like Saturday at 9 p.m. and he's just like, "What did you eat?" And I said Oreos, and he's like, "Don't bother about this shit again." Just like really pissed off.
Wait, why do you have your doctor on like speed dial on WeChat? I've never heard of that.
It's pretty common for that to like. I have a direct line with my doctor. I can call him and be like, "Oh, can I visit you tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure. Come at 7 in the morning." But that's because it's a very small country. But I have access to like if I wanted to go see like my doctor, I could probably just text him and he would tell me like, "Yeah, come next week."
Wow, that's awesome. I wish I could do that.
Yeah. It's the advantages. It's just that here, and we have like healthcare, but the thing is, like a lot of doctors just don't use the public healthcare or like the what's it called? The insurance.
Yeah, so you have to pay out of pocket.
You have to pay in cash or bank transfer.
I see.
Because it's better for tax evasion.
Yeah, it is. It's like I don't know. Whenever I go to like Asian hair salons, I always pay in cash because
they give you discounts. They give you discounts.
They give you a discount. They give you a discount, and they're like, "Oh, thank you for cash." It's like it's okay. We'll keep it between us.
I went to a doctor recently for my scalp, and I was like, it was like $200 for the consultation, and I was gonna pay with my credit card, and the lady looks at me and she's like, "No, we don't accept credit cards, either bank transfer or cash." And I'm like, "Who the fuck? Like, why would I be walking around with like $200 on cash?" And it was like, "Yeah, but it's easy. Like, they make it very easy to do bank transfers here, like super easy." Because that's how people.
That's so scary, though. That's so scary.
Yeah, it's really funny. And then I was like, the worst part is that I didn't have any money, but thankfully I had like access to my grandmother's bank account. So I called her and I'm like, "Can I borrow some money?" Because I'm like, fuck, like I don't have a way to transfer. Because my other like bank account is in the U.S. and I'm like, international transfers would kill me. And so I was just like, "Okay." And she's like, "Yeah, sure, fine. Like, it's like, don't worry about it." And luckily, she had exactly $210 to transfer. I obviously gave her the money after, but it was just like very funny that was the amount. And I was just like so pissed off. I was like, "This sucks." And I'm like, "I'm never coming back here." I was just so upset.
I mean, if they want you to pay $200 up front, like you would think that they would be like, "Oh, you can pay this amount now, and then you can pay this amount later." But
I wish they would have told me. I wish they would have told me because it was after. It wasn't even up front. It was like after, but they didn't like. I called over the phone, like I sent a WhatsApp, and at no point they told me they don't accept credit cards. They just said,
"Oh man."
It was just like a guess. It's not like. You know how like WeChat and Line have like ways to pay and stuff like that? WhatsApp doesn't really have that, and they don't really they don't ever like a lot of places don't tell you that you have to pay in a certain way until like the last minute. And I just really hate that.
Yeah, that's so inconvenient. Whatever, man. That sucks.
Yeah, it really whatever. And she didn't really tell me much other than all these procedures that we can do and stuff. And I'm like, one of the things that she was telling me was like, "Oh, we're gonna like shoot lasers into your like scalp to like help the skin," and then it's like infrared lasers, and then this is a respectable doctor, by the way. She's very good. It's just that every doctor always tries to upsell you on like procedures and stuff, and I was just like. And I told her like, "Okay, what's the most basic thing?" "Oh, you just take these pills and then like a shampoo." And I was like, "I'm doing that first because that's cheap."
What the heck? Like
that's
lasers into your head before telling you to use pills and shampoo.
And another procedure was like to inject like some sort of like thing into my because it's like going like every 3 months, and the procedure was like also $200 every 3 months, and I'm like, I'm not fucking doing that.
Oh no, that sucks.
It involves needles and stuff like that. I'm like, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just taking the pills and the shampoo, and then that'll sort my dandruff. I think that's it. I was just like, I'm not about to like.
Wait, you're telling me this is just for dandruff?
Dandruff and like, I'm getting ahead of like my hair thinning out because my dad like started thinning out when he was young. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get ahead, because my brother's like way past like a certain point, and I'm just like, okay, I don't want to like, I want to start early, and the doctor's like, oh, you're at a good point, so you'll be fine if you start this procedure. But then she started selling me all these things, and I'm like, no. And my dad like, the thing is like the only alternative I'm using right now is that sometimes you have like, you can use like a lotion on your head directly, and you apply it directly, or you can take a pill, which like you take half like a tab or something like that, and it's just the same equivalency. I just don't have to have like cotton and put it like in the morning at night. It's a better it's a better option in my opinion. But
yeah, because there's I know a little bit about this, where there's like a certain hormone that you take, or a hormone stopping pill that you take.
Yeah, DHT blockers.
Yeah. That's supposed to help you recover hair and stuff, and you have to use it for like
minimum 3
the
months
rest of your life.
Oh yeah, it's for life, but it's not a big deal. Like I have like I'm very bad at taking pills, because like even when I get sick and the doctor tells me like, oh, you can take this pill for like a week, I forget the first day, and I just get better magically, and then that's it. But like for this, I had to like break out like I had to go buy like one of those like pill things that have like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yes.
And like I have to have like a visual reference of like I didn't take it today, so I have to take it, and I have like an alarm that tells me every day to take it. And I still forgot 2 days consecutively. Even having like
it's 2 days, right?
Yeah, 2 days isn't bad. It's just that I still forgot, even though I had like, it's like someone was flashing like a sign at me like 24/7, and I still forgot. So
That's crazy. I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'd probably forget if I had to take something every day.
Yeah.
I forget to take my vitamins, dog, and I don't even like really.
It's not
that crazy.
Yeah, the only thing I don't forget taking is vitamin C, but it's because I like the taste of orange, and so these chewable pills are like really tasty, and they have like a little bit of fizz when I take them. So I'm like, okay, this I will never forget, because it's kind of like a little treat. It's like taking a Flintstones multivitamin.
Your hair is orange because you eat so much vitamin C.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how my hair. That's how my hair got orange. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Okay. We we started talking about like medicine and stuff, and I forgot that we're here to talk about.
Okay. We're chilling. We're just hanging out.
Yeah. I picked of all the stuff that you sent me. I picked a few things that I thought were like really solid representations of your work.
Awesome.
I guess I can just start saying like, ooh, you know what? It would be good to do like introductions, like, because I think we just started into it, but I'm gonna let you, because it's like you're a guest. I'll let you do your introductions, and then just we'll go from there.
And then you can introduce yourself to the people from my chat as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, hello everybody from Roz-Kun's channel. My name is Angelina Kamalo. You can just call me Lena. I usually play retro games on twitch.tv. But sometimes I do art, and I'm a really big fan of Splatoon.
Splatoon.
Oh, I love Metal Gear Solid. I like the Zelda series, and I think Half-Life is pretty awesome.
What's your favorite Metal Gear?
Oh my god, I don't know. I'm kind of a snob. I like MGS1. I think it's the best Metal Gear game because I like the vibes of it the most.
Okay, that's good. I mean, my favorite is 3, but it's
yeah.
I think 3 is like the best combination of like, in my opinion, because it's kind of like, I think that's peak Kojima, because it's very much like it feels like I'm watching like an old James Bond movie, because it's very it's kind of very self-aware. And I think it has like, I just really love it. it's just very fun.
Yeah, it's a really fun game to play. I just would say like I like MGS1 a little more than 3 just because I really like the Alaska like it's cold and it's like hard and like Snake doesn't want to be there and he has to be like this hero and I don't know, all the characters are just like so charming.
Yeah, I like one is my second favorite because I think the theming is better. And I think a lot of the memes around Metal Gear Solid are from one. Like I think a lot of the content that I remember the best is usually from one.
Yeah, yeah.
I think 3, why I like it more is just because it's like very campy. And it's just like the perfect amount of camp. And I like a lot of like what they present. But
I think the funniest game to me is probably MGS2. Like
Oh,
that game is just so weird.
people slept on it for years.
I
And
mean,
they
I don't know if people slept on it. I think they were pissed at Kojima.
I like Raiden. Like I from when I started thinking, because the thing is like I didn't really necessarily associate that it had to be Snake, because when I started playing I was very young, but when my association with Metal Gear wasn't necessarily that it was supposed to be Snake, because up until that point I had only played one, so it could have been any other character, because it didn't really, it wasn't like Crash Bandicoot and it was in the name. It was more that it's just Metal Gear the game and it's about like robots and war and spy stuff. So when Raiden came around, I thought, oh, like this is fun. It was just I my dumb little brain couldn't really comprehend the game. And then years later, at a when I grew up and replayed it, I was like, holy shit! Like everything clicked, and I'm like, this game is perfect.
I don't know. Like for me, MGS2 is like a better game in retrospect. Like I don't particularly, I don't know, compared to like playing the other games. Again, this is such a snobby behavior, and nobody has to agree with me. But I didn't particularly enjoy playing 2 as much as I wanted to. But like looking back on the plot and like the comical points of it, it really made me like it. And plus, like I'm a big Raiden fan. Everybody already knows about this.
I will say that, like, in order, like, if I were to say gameplay wise, which Metal Gears are my favorite, it's very different than my favorite list, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I would say that in terms of gameplay, my top 3 would be 5, Revengeance, and then my third one I would probably say that it's 1, because
Man, I everybody's gonna kill me, but like I hated 5. Whenever I played it 5 on stream, I was like, this isn't fun. I didn't like it at all.
I understand why. I think my problem is that I didn't play how the game was intended to be played. Listen, when I play games that give me explosives, that's the, like, to me that's like, I go like very primitive. I'm just explosion good. And
You just explode everything.
I explode everything. Like my favorite thing growing up was playing GTA 3 and then putting the code for tanks and then exploding cars. And
Oh my god.
I would do nothing for hours but just run into cars and watch them explode. And I also would put flying cars and I would explode them. And it got to such a point that I actually would always, like, after an hour, just glitch out of the map because I would just overheat my PlayStation.
Oh my god. Well, hey, you gotta do what you like.
That's why I enjoy Metal Gear Solid 5 on gameplay, because all I would do is just blow shit up. And to me, that was just very funny. I don't know why. That was just fun to me.
Played Ape Escape 3 parody of 1 before MGS1. I'm weird. Oh yeah, I don't know. It's so strange that Ape Escape and MGS are like crossing universes. So strange.
Yeah. That was when like Sony IPs kind of referenced each other, and they were like, they had fun.
Wait, is Metal Gear Solid a Sony IP?
Well, it wasn't necessarily that it was a Sony IP, it was an exclusive to the PlayStation.
Oh, I see. So technically, I see.
Yeah, and then years later, it was Metal Gear Solid 1 was ported to the GameCube, although arguably kind of butchered it.
Yeah.
And then Metal Gear Solid 3, I think got ported to the 3DS.
Wait, why?
Yeah, it honestly, it was like a better I hear mixed like things about it. Some people say it's like one of the best ways to play it. Not visually, I guess, but there's other stuff like Metal Gear Solid 2 was the only and 4 are the only ones that have not been ported for years. Well, 4 is the one that's never been ported to anything else other than the 3. And then Metal Gear Solid 2 got ported with the MGS collection. As far as I remember, that's what it was. But
I see.
I kind of like go back and forth with Metal Gear Solid 4. And I think my problem is that it's
There's
most...
like 4 hours of cutscenes!
Yeah, that's my problem.
Hours!
There's
Like, oh
really
my
solid.
God.
There's a very good... I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a guy... Steak Bentley or something like that, I think his name is. And he did like a 4-hour video on why Metal Gear Solid 4 is not that very good of a gameplay. And honestly, I like the video more than I like Metal Gear Solid 4. And it's very good. It's very good.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I think about like Metal Gear, I'm not like, oh yeah, Metal Gear Solid 4 is my favorite. You know, I don't think I've ever heard anyone who says that.
No.
I've heard more people say Revengeance is their favorite before MGS4.
I think I love Revengeance. It's such a good game. I think the thing with Revengeance is that it needed a sequel.
I wanted a sequel. I want a sequel so bad because it feels like, I don't know, like you're about to hit like the climax, like, oh man, all the pieces are falling together, and then it also just kind of suddenly ends.
Yeah, I think people also like whenever they think Revengeance, they just think about the last hour of the game because that's like what people meme a lot. But that game has like so many high points and a lot of like cool stuff, and people are like, Senator, very funny. And like, don't get me wrong, I love that segment. It's like one of my favorite things. But there's a lot to that game, and I like feel like there's a lot that they could have done, but kind of a missed up.
Monsoon was my favorite fight. That was definitely my favorite scene.
I think I streamed it.
Where he was like on the ground, he's like, doctor, release my pain inhibitors or whatever.
Yeah. Or like, oh my god, I think my favorite thing about that game is like when Raiden is like at the end with the senator, and then he gets Sam's sword, and he just and like the senator's like, oh, like you said something about it. It's like, and he goes like, but this isn't my sword, and then like I love that.
Wait, that's such a good impression. What the hell? I had no idea you could do that.
Doctor, release the cringe inhibitors.
Yeah. What the hidden talent?
Also, my favorite fight, I agree, is Jetstream Sam's fight, because it's the one where it's like, you should have learned how to play the game up till this point.
Yeah. I thought Jetstream Sam's... I don't know. I thought it was going to be harder, but honestly, like, it was a lot easier than I thought. I think maybe, like, the hardest fight for me was, what is it, the lady?
Oh, I hated that one.
The lady with the hands, like,
yeah.
For me, for some reason, maybe it's because it was earlier in the game, that was, like, one of the harder fights that I remember.
Most of the stuff that I remember from that fight is just the music, but it's because, so I play a lot of, Deep Rock Galactic, and there is a mod that lets you put Metal Gear Solid music, Metal Gear Revengeance music into it, and her song comes up a lot when I'm like being chased by bugs. It's like,
yeah. The song is so good though. It's so good. The music is also good. Like listening to it in like 2024, maybe you're like, this is whatever. But like, imagine when it came out in 2013, this shit would have kicked so fucking hard.
It goes really hard. Like, because that music is kind of on the lines of like Sonic Adventure 2.
Totally agree.
And I love the and I'm gonna call it anime rock because I think I don't really have any other way to describe it. I love that anime rock, and it's very campy and silly, and it's kind of like the best.
Yeah, I mean, like, it definitely sounds like, what is it? A Japanese musician wrote it and then gave it to an American band to perform. Like, it always kind of has that kind of feel. That's why I guess, like, you call it anime rock. But,
Yeah,
like, I kind of like it. It's like an anime intro, but not really.
it's like taking pen, pineapple, apple pen, and then just putting some like really hard rock into it, and then that's it.
Yeah, oh my god. We've just been talking about, like, Metal Gear. Oh, I can't help it. I can't help it.
Oh man, yeah. It's I guess it's like Metal Gear. There's so much to talk about, and that's kind of like why I picked the ride and stuff that you did here with the. And I'm like, yeah, I could see this.
Oh, yeah, dude, I got my write-in print signed by David Hayter at the convention.
No way,
him.
really?
Yeah, I did. Oh my god, he was so awesome. He's so cool.
I miss David Hayter.
I don't know, he wasn't as popular as I thought. Like, I think maybe I'm just so hyper focused on, like, being in the MGS community that I sometimes forget, like, people don't really know what it is.
Yeah, I know a lot because the thing is, like, a lot of people. I wouldn't say like Metal Gear is as popular as we like to think it is. Like, it's a recognizable IP to people that are, gamers. But I wager to think that if you ask, like, I don't know, like a kid nowadays or like someone that kind of has only been playing Call of Duty, I'm not trying to diss like people, and that it's just that people that are in like that side of like the gaming sphere, which is a lot. It's a lot of people. They like tell them, like, do you know what Metal Gear is? And they're like, fuck's Metal Gear.
No, I feel like if you like Call of Duty, you are missing out. You are missing out on, like, like, if you like Call of Duty, you like guns, you like warfare, and I feel like MGS is very much like.
Oh my god, that's right. Snake and Raiden are in Fortnite.
Yeah, oh my god, yeah, so the kids should know. Whatever.
Okay, the kids should know. Okay, you know what? That's how far like disconnected I am from like all that kind of stuff. People have been trying to get me to play Fortnite for years. I just like never gotten into it. Oh my god! I have a story about Fortnite. So, this was like when Fortnite first came out. I remember PUBG was like at its peak, and I see my cousin playing that cartoony game, and I'm like making fun of him, and he's just like, "Yo, this game is gonna pick up, and I'm gonna be like at the top, and I'm gonna be so popular." And I was like making fun of him because this game's never gonna take off. What are you doing? Like building shit and like hiding behind walls and stuff. Play PUBG like a man. And then he's like, nah, dude. Like, this game is gonna slap. You'll see. And then he's like a few days later, he stopped playing it, and he was like, yeah, I got bored. Like, I don't think this game is gonna go anywhere. And then
no way.
And then I'm not like, and then like, as soon as like it exploded and stuff, I just get a text from him, and it's just he just shows me like the figure of players, and then with the subtext, motherfucker.
No, I don't think this game is gonna kick off. It's just a small little indie game.
Yeah, because it was so like I was just like I couldn't get into it. Like I tried it, and I'm like, I don't really see it. Like I don't really see it. And then, my cousin was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not good at FPS games. Well, technically, it's a third person, but I'm just not good at shooters. So even though I tried to play Fortnite with my friends, I'm just like kind of dead weight.
I was playing. Are you familiar with Stumble Guys?
Yeah, Stumble Guys.
I was playing Stumble Guys with friends, and then yesterday we got the nerf thing. I have never played Stumble Guys. I just saw it. And I'm like, what? Is this a mobile? Like my first impression, is this a mobile game? And they're like, yes. And we get the nerf arena, and a bot beat me because I was like, I choked because I was so nervous. Like I was trying to point, and I was using the controller, and I'm like, I can't do this. This is making me too nervous. I cannot play it FPS.
Yeah, that's understandable. Like, I don't know. I say this all the time, but I'm good at the weirdest fucking games, and then I'm bad at everything else. Like, I don't know. I'm bad at fighting games, but I can do really well in hack and slash. I'm no good at any shooter games, but I'm pretty good at Splatoon. It doesn't make any sort of sense.
Splatoon is good. I have Splatoon 3, but I played like 20 minutes of it, and I'm like, oh, I'll pick it up later.
No, dude, I have like almost 800 hours already.
I understand. I think I understand. I think the games I'm good at are just like I'm also good at like random games. I can't say like a specific genre that I'm good at, because sometimes I'll pick up a game and then people are like, why the fuck are you so good at this? And I'm like, I don't know. I think anything that requires like muscle memory, I'm not very good, because eventually like I'll trip up. Like I can't do rhythm games at all.
Oh no, I love rhythm games.
I'm very bad at rhythm games. Very, very bad.
I'm actually terrible with music, and I'm not even good at timing, but I'm good at rhythm games regardless. See, I'm saying like it doesn't make sense why I'm good at the games that I'm good at.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up.
All right.
Oh yeah, you gotta do your intro.
I forgot about that. I was even gonna jump into the art stuff, but yeah, I have to do my intro. So Linus people, I am Roz. I've been doing art for like for a career for the good part of 10 years. Right now I work for an indie game company. It's I work contract for them, but I've been doing art for many years. I've worked in different game projects, designed a lot of characters. I lived and worked in Japan for a few years until I moved. I continued working independently. I am mostly a character designer. I don't usually do painting. I like doing a lot of character designs and stuff like that. But over here on my stream, I usually just play a lot of I also play like a lot of retro games, or just games that are like comfort food is the way I can describe them. But very recently I started playing Baldur's Gate 3, which is very off my so far atypical for me, and I have incredibly bad luck, and I just keep rolling critical failures. So I'm gonna set up.
So real.
I'll set a record for that, and then but I typically just play games that I'm like RPGs are usually my go-to. So that's a lot of what you'll see around. But
basically, he's awesome and very cool.
Thank you. You're too kind. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. And I'm gonna start. I usually like giving people advice on art. I'm not the greatest, but I'm usually very good at picking out stuff that people kind of want to improve, because I kind of have a visual memory of things that I've seen that other people are extremely talented at doing, and I just kind of pick those things and I'm like, oh, you can do this and that. So I usually like teaching, and this is kind of like the second time I've done this. So I hope you guys learned something, because I did do a lot of note taking and a lot of research to help Lena level up her art game. So
heck yeah, that's so awesome. I feel so honored, because I've always kind of I don't know, I never really okay, it's like a pipe dream for me, oh man, it'd be so awesome if I worked in a game or a studio or something, but then at the same time no, I hate drawing for other people, and then so I'm oh, I don't want to try it. But it's also kind of an honor, because it's a dream fulfilled of oh wow, this is a real professional critiquing my art and stuff.
It's sometimes hard to think I'm a professional, but then I have to remind myself even if I do commissions or I do certain things like this, I treat it like it's my job. It's not a gig work. I treat it as my job.
Yeah, it's literally full-time job.
Yeah, I keep track of my invoices and stuff like that, and I also have a schedule and everything, and that's why sometimes I've debated getting a manager, because I'm just not very good at time management sometimes. But But the thing is, like, ooh, brain fart. Okay. I'm trying to remember like what I was about to say.
You were talking about management.
Yeah, I do. Like, I okay. This is what I was saying. Like, I've done it for 10 years, but it's more like the last 4 years when I've been working for other people in terms of like like other people's game projects or game studios and stuff. Because for most of the time, I've usually tried to get into places and stuff like that, and a lot of places just they obviously want to hire people that are more willing to work for my same rate, but have obviously more experience. And
yeah, I see it.
And I've always just done my own thing. And so for about 4 years, I worked on a game project of my own that helped, put my name on the map. I didn't get to finish it because the game got out of scope, but then I had to end it. But I'm working now with a team of people that I've met through my profession. And now I'm just using money to pay people that are better at other stuff like music and all that kind of stuff to just do it for me. And I can focus on the things that I do know how to do, like drawing and writing and things that are a lot more on my ballpark. So I'm kind of very lucky that I have people that are, friends of mine that are programmers and stuff like that that help me do things. So
that's so cool. That's so cool. That's like so many artists' dreams. You're working so hard.
Yeah, I advice that I will tell people is that if you, first of all, I don't think you need to get into the industry anymore to be like successful, because first of all, AAA industry is going to shit, and the way that the industry is moving, if you want to get into games, this is just specifically games. The industry is moving towards indie and smaller communities around indie games and stuff like that. So don't be afraid to start your own game project if you find it hard to get into certain places and stuff, because that helps build your portfolio, and it also like you can build your own community around it and stuff like that. So don't think that you need to get into EA or Ubisoft or something like that. Like I will tell you that maybe financially you might not be better off, but in terms of like building your own community and finding ways to monetize your work and stuff like that, you will have more options, because working for bigger companies, you can learn a lot, but a lot of the stuff that you would learn in a company and stuff like that, you can go to YouTube and learn it, and you can actually teach yourself good skills and stuff like that. So I would advise you to don't worry. Like, for someone that has done his own thing for many years, it's not the end of the world. Just work hard at the things that you really like, and if you work with energy and passion, I think you will get the fruits of your labor. So
that's advice.
That's my advice to open up stuff. But let's get to the meat and potatoes of why we're here.
Okay.
So Lena sent me a bunch of stuff, and I picked some of the stuff that I thought is the strongest example of their work. And I want to look at some of these drawings, and I like, you were telling me that you want to work on like strong lighting and that stuff. So these two are very good examples of you going in that direction of like having like a harsh upper lighting.
Yeah.
And I did make notes because they're obviously like a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing here, like because for the most part, I think you have a very professional grade.
You think so? Oh my god!
I think so. I think for you now, in my perspective, is that you have a lot of refinement to do, and a lot of like polishing, because there are some things that can help you like take it the next step. Because first of all, on these things, I never talk about anatomy, because the thing is, like, anatomy is such a specific scope, and that's something that you just have to work on your own time. I work with the people's temp like level, and anatomy is like because some people like will work with a certain type of style, and I can't really like go after their anatomy and just be like, you need to work on this. I typically focus on like the things that are gonna give you a good visual representation of your work, and that's like what we're working. And I think you have a very good solid anatomy base, so I don't really have to tell you like go do that. And I think we're kind of all adults here, and I think if you're gonna learn art, even if you go hyper stylized or something, anatomy is like something important because it's like a very good base. So I'm not gonna say anything in that regard. Here I've noticed also like some character stuff. Wait, where's my notes? Oh, here they are. So okay, so my observations: you have very good faces and expressions. You have a good grasp of colors, a good base on lighting, good anatomy, and your art is very expressive. It doesn't feel like boxed. It feels very it feels somewhat organic and dynamic in a way where, like, for example, here I do like how there's flow to it, and this one I like this one a lot in terms of design. Like I do this a lot, the rainbow stuff, but I think your choices of colors and fashion is very solid. Good eye on fashion and design elements, and I think it's professional level.
What? Thank you.
So I mean, all this is really good. And I think there's a few things that I think I remember one of the things I made a note of it. One of the things that you told me was that you get kind of lazy towards the end, and that's kind of like that's kind of something that I did notice, and I have my critiques in the next group, but.
Yeah, I told Roz, like, I kind of get frustrated with coloring and I just want the piece to be done after I line it. Just because, like, I get really impatient once I start coloring because it takes up way longer than anything else whenever I'm drawing. Like, sketching is fast for me, lining it takes, like, a little bit of time, but after that it's like, oh, well, it kind of looks like a piece already. I don't really want to fill it with color, but I do want more finished pieces.
Yeah, so I do have a lot of advice on that because I'm also one, I'm lazy, and two, I get very impatient. So there's some things that I've done to help myself with that, and my style tends to be very simple. Let me see if I can find something that I am allowed to show. Okay, well, I did censor this one. So so here is a piece that I've done. And I will note that I want you guys to pay attention how the hair and the skin are simple, but then the element that is very, like, I don't want to say over designed, but like has a lot of detail put into it is the clothing, because I want people's attention to be guided to the skin. And so because everything has a lot of detail, the simple parts stand out a lot more.
I see it.
And that can happen vice versa. It just really depends on where you want to draw. Also, keep in mind, like, we have very dark colors. So, for example, her skin is dark, her hair is dark, but then the bunny suit is very bright, and so it is sandwiched between the ears and the clothing, and then the bottom part, which is also kind of like in some regard. So there's usually ways you can do to like simplify your workflow, and a lot of the times the hair on the back I tend to simplify it because people don't really look at what's behind the character, but usually what's in front a lot more. Unless like you do a character, like unless you really want to focus on the hair, then you really focus on the hair, and everything else you kind of don't have to worry so much about paying that much attention to it.
Yeah, and I've noticed that with a lot of artists that I like is like, oh, they pay a lot of attention to the face, and then sometimes the rest of the drawing, if you zoom in, are just like really rough paint strokes.
Yeah, a lot of the people that you send recommendations of, I check them, and that's indeed a lot of what they do. They do one thing specifically, and then the rest is just very simple.
Yeah, and I honestly kind of like that more than being detailed everywhere because it's kind of, I don't know, it's messy to look at it, in my opinion.
Yes, I see a lot of people, and I think that's one of the artists that you sent me has very good work, but I get a little tired looking at it because because it has a lot of information on it, and it can be very cool to look at a mural and just like point out certain details. But there is such a thing where like you charge your viewer too much with attention to detail, because then information gets lost, at least from a specific view. And in and I'm not like saying that the art is bad because of that. I'm just saying that that's more of a personal thing where I tend to have my motto with art is less is more. I tend to design things in a simple way, unless what I want to do, whether it's for fun or for a certain project, needs a lot of detail. But I tend to approach simplicity sells you more on information, because your brain is there to fill in the holes. So a lot of people don't let the brain do the work. They tend to try to overcompensate for a certain lack of information. And I think even some of the people that you sent to me, when they draw simply, my brain fills in the gap. But when I zoom in, oh holy shit, wait, that wasn't there. So it's a very good approach to lazy but smart drawing, where
you get there.
and I did some corrections for some of these. You may agree or disagree with some of them, but
of course.
But I'm gonna start with this one. So
okay.
So look at what I did here. I think in terms of coloring, you did very good. I think I pushed the colors a little more because because here's the thing. I think one of the things that I noticed is that you use a lot of muted colors. You tend to float around the area. I don't know if you can see it, but around the triangle that's between the grayscale and and a little bit saturated. So like for example here, it's very close to the gray area. I
see.
But also I tend to be very saturated, so I'm on the opposite spectrum. And in here as well. So what I did here is that I only increased the saturation a little bit, and then I messed around with making the face a little more red, so that the blues work better with this here.
Oh, I see.
Because here's the thing. When you make a drawing, you have to think of, where do I want the viewer to fixate their gaze on first? And if you want the face to be the main attraction, sometimes you can do that with design flow. So for example, let's say when you did the drawing, hold on, my controller kind of turned off. So let's say that when you draw it, you probably have like something that guides the viewer's face in a certain direction. Like let's say you have, it guides it here, so it starts here and then guides them there, and then it goes from there, right? So it's like, okay, starts here, goes here, whatever. There is a certain flow to it. Or maybe when you place the drawing, it has like, a certain, like, not the golden ratio necessarily, but it's like, it's right in the center. So this is what people are going to be paying attention to. And another thing that you can do that with is with colors. So that's something that we're going to see in a little bit. But the use of colors can help. And here, let me show you. I'm just going to skip to this one. So this piece is my favorite of the ones that you sent me. Why is that?
Yeah. This artist does like really cool salmon run art.
Yeah. And I'm going to show you why I like this one a lot. Because everything is entirely orange except the characters in the middle. I color picked a lot in the middle, like outside of the, like on the edges and stuff. It's all like a range of orange. And then you have red, white somewhat, or like a very clear orange, and then blue. And it draws your attention to it because it's letting these colors just, and it, like if you zoom in, a lot of it is just very sketchy and just some like colors thrown in, but you're not really paying attention to it. your brain is kind of filling in the gaps because you're looking at the characters in the middle, which have more detail thrown into them. And
Yeah.
you have the blue.
I didn't even realize like the rest of it was just orange and browns. Like until you told that to me, like I really just thought they were like different. I don't know. Like you said, like my brain is filling in information that isn't really there. That's crazy.
And in the color wheel, or in the like color theory, you have like the complementary, and complementary usually has to be. It depends really on how you want to do things, but in this case, it's like maybe 10% of the entire drawing, and it's using the blue, which is usually just the complementary for this color range, but it never leaves the area of like red, orange, and yellow. It stays in there, but it's using different values also to convey the information. So in here you have the blue, which calls your attention, and this red, which is very saturated, and it draws you in. The same with the yellow. It's bright and saturated, and it calls your attention to it because everything else is kind of muted. But it's also the colors are darker on the outside but brighter in the center as well. So that's another play with values and colors that this artist obviously thought of, and it wanted your attention here, and that's how they did it, because this is not important. This is though, and that's how he did it. And that's how they did it. Like they have this color range and stuff, and that's kind of like why in here I was trying to I didn't do it probably because I obviously don't have like the original file. I was just playing around. And when you do harsh lighting, you have to think about how the light is cast. And there's something that, hold on, I'm going to turn this one off. Turn on my observations. So one of the things that you're going to have to start doing is start thinking more deeply about the light sources and where they're coming from, and not necessarily plan it way ahead, but think about for example here, the bangs kind of cast a little bit of a shadow, so you might want to add a little bit of that here. Because it's harsh lighting, the head is round, obviously, on top, so you might want to do more. It follows more, just to compare with previously where you had this, and this is good. I'm just this. This is and you would have harsher lighting here, and then something cool that you can do is that because a lot of the information around this character is not very important, you can blur it. You can blur it a little bit. So you see here how I blurred it, where the harsh lighting is hitting, is because it's not extremely important, and it's giving a little bit of depth, and it's also got these lines are hard, and so it's guiding your attention toward it.
I see. In your edit, I noticed I think it's more interesting to look at because the contrast is even bigger than
because here you have it's good, but it needs more contrast, and that's kind of one of the things that I would recommend you start thinking of, because for example here I did add a hard shadow, and in other places I did it. So let me show you this one. For example, I also did the same thing. So here's the original one, and then this is the version that I did, where I softened a few parts, and I added more harsher lighting, I added more saturation. And here, I think it was just fine. I was just messing around a little bit. But it's important to think about the harsh lighting, and even in some cases where light might not necessarily fall directly into, if it helps guide the attention of the viewer, you can cheat a little bit and add more lighting, like I did with the jewel, where here it's a little, you have different colors and stuff, but all I did is fuck it, and I just added harder light sources.
I see.
Yeah, and it's you're looking at these parts and you're oh, okay. But yeah, don't be scared of using saturated colors. Think about the colors, the values, and the mood. Because if you you can accentuate the warmness of her by making her face more warm colors, and then the rest of it use more cooler colors.
I see.
Yeah, and that's a like something that you can think about when you start thinking of a piece that you want to paint, or like if you're working on a portrait. Like, what are things that you want? What are the things that you want to convey in a piece?
I see.
That those are very important things to know.
Yeah, I think like even whenever I edit my drawings, like post editing, I feel like I'm kind of scared to turn up the saturation that far.
Yeah. Do you have more than one monitor?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And on one of them is more saturated than the other, so I try to edit on the less saturated screen.
Do you do you have like an iPhone or an Android?
I have an iPhone.
Okay, so what you can do is that if you don't have like a private chat on your own Discord, you can just do one and then just send the image to yourself and then see how it looks on the phone.
Because it's always less saturated on the phone, right?
The phone has true colors. iPhones usually have true colors.
Oh, true colors? Wait, I didn't even know that's like a thing.
Yeah.
For monitors or whatever.
iPhone has true color as of the last 4 to 5 years or something like that. If you have an iPad as well, it also does that. I do have a color profile. You can look up color profile Adobe 1998 and set that setting to your computer, because it is like, it's the industry standard, and I do highly recommend that one.
Yeah. What did you say? Adobe 1998?
Color profile, or ICC profile.
Okay, ICC profile. I'll definitely look that up.
Yeah. Okay. One technique that I use for making my drawings more bearable and sometimes like more interesting, like we were talking about, simplifying or adding accent. So look at this character here. This is the original. What's different?
The shirt?
The shirt. So let me show you. Look at the tail.
Oh, I see. You added there's a gradient to it.
It adds a little bit of depth. All I do is like I take the air, like this is just something I do, and I see a lot of artists also do. I take an airbrush and I just run like like a complementary color very lightly, and then maybe sometimes if it's too harsh, I'll run down the opacity a little bit. The reason why I simplified the shirt is because it's supposed to be, one, loose, or at least that's the idea I'm getting, and two, I felt like it's too much, and I think you probably did this part many times and you probably got tired of it. So one thing you can do is just simplify the way that you're coloring, and for example here, his head is casting a harsher shadow here, and so you're gonna get this. You don't have to add this much detail here, just one simple shadow, and that's it. And then here, for example, a harder shadow, because I'm assuming the light is kind of coming from like, top right. And then you get all, and then, like it helps pop out the details on his head and like his face and stuff more. Because this is simpler. This is okay because this is kind of like, has a lot of like patterns and stuff. So a lot of the shadows, don't really have that much, don't really steal away from it. And then you get the legs here, and stuff like that. And over here, on the leg, I just added a little bit more of that gradient.
Yeah, and it definitely gives it more depth. Like, it definitely looks like it's further away.
Yeah, some artists will like just simply say fuck it, and they will grab and just kind of like even just like go like that and do it like one solid color and just say fuck it, I don't feel like doing that. So it is things to consider that I do recommend you give it a shot, because even the jacket, I simplified it, and even not even just letting one color, like I just did this one solid color, because before it was just like you had this and I'm like, you get that information. You can do darker lines and then let the brain do the rest. Yeah, but other than that, it's pretty good. It's just letting like, because the thing is, when I do these gradients, it's because I want this to stand out more. Because I'm not very concerned about the information back here. And people, will see like, people will see this detail and they're like, oh shit, okay, I get what this is, hairy legs on the back. And you don't have to worry so much. Like, you could even to a certain extent do something like you grab this and then it's just one solid one solid color that you just do this, and then people get the idea.
I see. I
Because-
think I guess I get worried that people aren't gonna be convinced that it is the material that it is, and then I overwork it.
Are you familiar with the term kiss?
No.
Keep it simple, stupid. It like, if something, if you're spending too much time on a detail that, because okay, I've also worked in marketing for several years, and my perspective on consumers is that people always assume that people are not very smart, because you don't have to entirely convey, and people will always see something and they will pick something specific about it. So when they see this character, they're going to look at the front information, and if you do the basic details of the legs, for example, that are supposed to be hairy, then they'll see it as hairy. And if they zoom in, oh, it's not, I thought it was like more hashed out, but they just gave me the idea. Because again, you want to just convey the simplest of information and let the brain fill in the gaps.
I see. I need a. See, this is why I get lazy. It's like, oh man, well, I have to do so much whenever. I don't really have to paint everything in.
Yeah, no, you don't really have to. As long as you do like what you can do is always zoom out at 50%. And make sure, like, does it look good at 50%? Okay, yeah, that's passable. Because nobody's going to be like this. Nobody's going to be seeing this. When people log into Twitter or whatever, they're looking at this. Very few people will click on the image and then zoom in just to look at details. I would say like maybe a 20-30% will even do that. So
yeah, and even then, it's like they're not spending a full minute looking at it. Probably like 5 seconds.
Roz and Lena, should I cook lamb spice sausage or curry Bradford sausage?
Bruh. This is such a Mark question. Whatever you want, man.
Just a curry sausage, I guess. I don't know. This one. So this I like a lot.
And I've been doing like more commissions in this style because it's like pretty fast for me to work on.
These are fun. I think like if you made stickers of these, this would sell a lot. And I think these are very fun. And I do like it a lot. So I don't really have anything to say about this specifically because this is very deformed. I do like that. Hold on. Let me see if I can find an artist that I think you could take a lot from. Because now that I'm looking at it, there is an artist where I took a lot of ideas from. Let's see. Because there is so much you can do with colors. And it's not just like having like one specific choice. It's like having a whole gamma of colors. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I saved their art. I'm looking at my cloud. No, I don't think I saved it. But I do have something that I was working on. So let me see. So my my model update that I still have to work on. So let me show you. Oh. So let me show you. So you see this? This is my model thing that I was working on. And you can see like my color choices here or whatever, where I just refuse to use like anything within like, for example, here, I'm not even using light for like the going on the color wheel and then picking, okay, light or tone, here we go. I am choosing like a totally different color or like a complementary color, and then it's just like on the other side, and that's how I'm doing the lighting. And for the eyes, like I'm doing a lot of different colors and stuff. So I need to find the artist specifically that I'm thinking of. But
are you thinking of like Mamu?
It's an artist that does a lot of Miku stuff. That it's like crazy colors.
Are they JP?
Yes, they're from Japan.
I think I know who you're talking about.
I'm gonna have to look it up. Okay.
I think I have it on I have it so fast. Is it this one?
It's not Lamb, but it's kind of like it's basically the same principle. It's just that this artist I'm thinking in specifically has very stylized art.
Mika Picasso?
No, it's not Mika Picasso. I need to find it because it's, and I have them somewhere that I'm afraid to open because no,
it might be NSFW.
oh, hold on. I think I'm waiting for this to open. I think I might have found something here. Hold on.
Ooh, okay.
No, okay, not this one. I have such a mess with my folders.
No, it's totally fine. I don't have anything organized. It's just all in my downloads folder. It's awful.
Yeah, no, this artist that I'm thinking of, I had picked for something. Let me see if it's in
Kind of fucked up because a friend of mine does zoom in and look at my art closely. Well, I mean, if they're a friend of yours and they want to zoom in on your art, they probably already like your art anyways.
Yeah, they're just, yeah, I think that's fine. I wouldn't overthink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I put it because I think like it was where like where I was working on my model update, but I don't know where I whatever. If I find it, I'll share it with you. But anyways, it's something about like using more, like pushing more like here instead of doing that. You could just do maybe something like this, and then inside add like this color, and then it like obviously not for here because that's not where you want people to look, but maybe for the eyes they could be like a specific color where, you know, it pops out more, and then instead of doing, you know, you do this, and then obviously like I'm just, you know, something like that, you know, and it draws your attention to the eyes because they're kind of like, obviously this is a little bit weird because the eyes are obviously like darker, so you would probably like push it over here.
Oh, I see what you mean. Kind of like how similar, like, I guess, like, I make the line art for the eyes, like, a little more red. Yeah, I could do that for the eyes so that they also stand out more.
Yeah. Like, you see the eyes stand out more.
That is really nice.
And then you can do something like this. Because a lot of people, I've seen, this isn't to you specifically because you're doing a good job with the eyes, but a lot of people forget that this white area is part of the eyes, and they treat it as like, okay, well, you're supposed to do shadows here and that's it, but they're not thinking critically that this is like a 3D object. This is like a, you know, this is a ball, and so they don't like, you're doing a good job, but I see a lot of artists that they just don't think about it. So like if there's a shadow being cast, like say here, you would appropriately, like, you know, add it there. Like, let's say the hair was like here, then, you know, obviously if you're doing rendering this, you obviously have to render there because this is an object where, like, you know, we're like,
I see.
I mean, obviously this is an extreme example, but in here, for example, actually, One. Actually, this is sort of incorrect. It has to be like this.
I see.
You see how the eye feels more 3D?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, like, eyes do have shine. So sometimes, like, I mean, it doesn't look good all the time, but you can always do this. When people add, like, this, like, shine here, it's because when you draw the eye and you have, like, the iris here, when light is cast, like, I mean, this whole thing gets shined. The iris is not entirely independent from this white area. This is, you know, this, forget my anatomy, but this is important. Like, this part is important. It's not to be neglected. Like, if shadow's going to be cast on it, obviously it has to be shaded appropriately. And for that, I have a very important phrase. Think 3D. Okay. Think 3D, draw 2D. A lot of people draw in 2D. They think of, like, the dimension of the paper, but they're not thinking of, like, the space that it occupies.
I think it took me a really long time to even try to, like, think about the body in a 3D space. Like, I would even say maybe only the past, like, 4 to 5 years, I've really honestly, like, started thinking about things as, like, 3D. I don't know, it's just really hard for, like, I guess, like, beginner artists to grasp what it's like. And I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, I know, I get it. It took me a while to get used to it. And that's why I decided, like, okay, I'm going to start drawing shapes simply in 3D. So, like, when I was drawing characters, I would probably just, like, sketch pen. So I would draw a character, and I would probably just go, like, you know, draw them like I would normally with whatever detail and stuff. And then, you know, when I would add colors, I would probably just use a two-tone. I would probably go with, like, you know, this, and then I would go for the light, and then think, okay, so the light would go like this. So I start thinking more appropriately about how shapes are in 3D. Because what I used to do, and the way that I started learning, which wasn't very smart, is that I would just copy what other artists were doing without critically thinking about why certain choices were made. And I think that's why I see a lot of artists, up-and-coming artists, just copy a popular style without thinking about the choices that certain artists are making. Like, when I see a lot of people, you know, duplicate a style, it looks nice, but, you know, they're not making, like, conscious choices about what why certain things are done in a certain manner. Like, if an artist picks blue for certain things, and then, like, oh, I'll just keep doing blue before this because that's how they do it. But they're not thinking, well, blue is a complementary color of red, so that's why they add blue to you know, to the lighting of this red so that it pops out more and stuff like that. So when you see like, if there's an artist that you like particularly, and there's a particular aspect of something that they do, find out why they do it. Try to figure out why they do it, because that's for me, that's the best way to learn. For me, it's how it works, because I focus on one thing at a time instead of thinking of, like, how huge the field of art is in terms of, like, how do I learn something, how do I improve on something. So I try to just focus on one thing at a time and get better at it, and then move from there.
You know, studying is about learning why, not really copying.
Yeah, for example, here I didn't really have anything because actually it's very simple. It's a very simple drawing. It has good details. Like, if I zoom in, you know, you did a lot of details. I like what you did with the hand. But you see this, I had to zoom in to see this level of detail. But when I zoom out, I get the idea. I get the gradient from it. But then when I zoom in, I see, like, all these dots and stuff. But it's like that information can be conveyed by just doing, like, you can take this and you do a gradient, and then you grab this, and then you do this at the top, and then
Yeah, that's what I did.
yeah, you did. You see, that's what I'm saying. Like I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I know what she did. So it's like da, 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 da. There you go. And then here, like the only issue I had with this is that they felt like very flat because it's like one behind the other, and I just added a gradient.
Yeah,
There.
this was actually an original design somebody commissioned me to do.
This is great. I like this a lot.
Thank you.
This is it's very good. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's like you did a good job of like so stuff like that works because it's you took the shading very simply and you let the design elements speak for themselves and kind of like let the rest of it pop off. And because a lot of this is dark, for example, it lets you divide the information that you're seeing. So this part is sandwiched between dark spots on the top and on the bottom, and then the face is immediately clear because this is dark and this is light, and then this is a little darker, but it has like some colors in here, and there's a harmony with the design elements and the color choices, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna start doing that. What is it? You use like a gradient or airbrush for the background. That's like, I don't know. It instantly makes it look so much better. It's crazy.
Yeah, you don't even have to like. You could even just do like grab this, just not even bother to shade it. There you go. You don't even have to bother like shading. So what some people do sometimes is that they'll do like they'll like just make it flat or like just one dark color like that, and then they'll do this. I mean, obviously in this case it looks like he's bending the knee, but but in general, like you could even just leave it like a solid flat and then let this one, you know, have the shading and stuff.
I see. So it's like kind of not standing out because it's rougher.
Yeah, you want the stuff the information that's more important to have more detail. It's a trick. Hey, Tiger. Tiger's a friend of mine. She's very good.
Hello.
Let's see here. So, okay, for the sketches, I really like. I see what you're doing here with these two. They because of the inspirations that you shared me, it's like they're doing. You know, you're getting the idea of what the other artists that you shared with me are doing. And I like the flow of it, where you're purposely laying down lines, and you're not overthink, like, because a lot of like the trick for these types of drawings is to not overthink the sketch or the drawing. It's to just be simple, let the information be like, let the brain fill in the gaps and stuff. And like in certain parts you didn't even, like, for example here, like you see the sketch line, but I don't notice it as much because I'm just paying attention to everything else. And in here, it's not even connected, but I saw it as connected because you're just drawing and just letting it. And this is just a sketch, so I mean, but it's still fun to look at, and the expression is the most important part here. So I'm like really focused in here, and then the rest is like I'm looking at it, but I'm not thinking that it's like unfinished or anything. It's just a drawing that I'm looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the composition for that piece was very cool. That's why I was like, ooh, I'll submit this one, even though it's so rough.
I like it. It's good. It's good. And I would say the same with this one, where it's like very flowy. It's funny because it's Raiden in a maiden dress, and I like it. I could totally see that in a Metal Gear game. So, kudos.
I mean, he already had like the Mexican outfit on. This is not that far.
Yeah. Adios, amigos. I like that. I like it. These two.
Thank you.
I had a question. This side does not have an arm, right?
No, because it was for the remember when we all did the artist thing?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's supposed to fit in with everybody else, and Sui is supposed to be on that side.
Okay, for the longest time, I was like,
what's going on here?
Yeah. So I was just like thinking about like, because okay, let me show you. This is the original, and all I did basically was just simplify the colors. hard to light. Like, as I think this is good. One of the important things about drawing is, or painting or coloring and rendering, is thinking about the material. A lot of people will render material just very simply, and sometimes for general purposes it's fine. But for example, pants generally, like, what is a satin or like khaki or something like that?
I honestly didn't think that far. Just kind of like a rougher, harder material, I think. Like kind of like smooth, but like like it's a thicker fabric.
Okay, because here's the thing. A lot of pants are made of, a lot of clothing in general doesn't really have reflective qualities. It looks, when you're looking at your pants, for example, it just has the shadow and then that's it. You don't really see a lot of light. So usually if you're doing like lighting for pants or something like that, usually it's just, you can just go with an airbrush and like do that and then just let the shadows, or you just let the shadows be darker and then let the viewer assume that the light is just casting on it, because a lot of material in clothing just absorbs the light and it just looks kind of like that's it. Like there's not, you're not gonna see like generally I think it's incorrect to go like, oh okay, like imagine, like do this to a pant, like add this. I don't think that's correct because of the way that the material, because that's another thing that's important, to give the idea of how the material is. Like if I were to do like tiny strands like this, for example, like that. Let's see. You get the sense that this is kind of threaded or like it's knitted.
Yeah.
So stuff like that helps define that information. Like you did here, for example, like you did the cotton, and you get that idea. Like if you zoom in, you're like, oh, okay, well I see this, but then when you zoom out, it looks like very fluffy, and so that's kind of like what you have to think about. Obviously, like this would be overkill because that's a lot of detail, but if you do it, very simply and like like that, without having to add a lot of information, you let the viewer kind of get that info. And I did so for the original, it had this here, and another thing that I wanted to bring up is that there is a difference between soft shadows and hard shadows. Here, for example, you kind of use like a soft airbrush here, and the information conveys is softness, but if you add some harder shadows in certain areas, and you don't even have to do this like that, you could just probably do it one solid dark color, or doesn't even have to be this dark, just this. You see how like the light helps do this instead of like, it's better just keep one solid color. It helps kind of like just focus here rather than all the details. And were you gonna say something?
No, I was just gonna ask, like, what instances do you use hard shadows and what instances do you use soft shadows?
Are you familiar with ambient occlusion?
Not really.
Okay, well, I'll put it simple. Okay. So we have I'm gonna pick a different color. So we have a ball here. I'm gonna do a layer under it. And then let's say the sun is here.
Okay.
The closer a shadow is to the source, the harsher it is. The further it is, the softer it is, because light is entering more. There's more light coming in. And so that's why shadows get softer. Now, you have this ball here. Obviously, whatever it is directly under it is going to be harsher. And then the rest that is out here is just going to be softer. Because
so is the softer part called ambient occlusion?
No, the ambient occlusion is just like let me find a proper definition because so here I have good videos that you can see. So ambient occlusion is like a value recorded at every surface point. So it measures the extent to which a location on the surface is obscured by surrounding So the effect that objects have on shadow to each other. So if you had different balls, they would cast shadow on each other and light bouncing around. Because the thing is, you also have to consider that light, when it bounces off an object, like let's say light is bouncing here, that light that landed there is also gonna bounce off somewhere.
I see.
So it comes in, blends with this, and then it bounces off. So to correct, so let's say you had like a wall here that was green. Light would come here and then would bounce here, and then you would get this effect. And then because light is bouncing from this direction, you also kind of get it somewhat here.
Oh, in the shadows
and
too.
then here too. I mean, this is like not necessarily because it's a lot of detail, but I'm going to show you like something. For example, here. Let me show you the original. Original is this one. It's pretty good. However, look at this one.
Yeah, the lighting definitely feels like, I don't know, they belong in the same room.
Yeah. In here, for example, you have this bright red, this bright fuchsia, and then you also have the shadow being cast, and you're not really adding the shadows at least to like how I would do it. You're not adding it like appropriately because it would cast a harder shadow. So let me show you. Let me look for a good example of like me doing that hat stuff. Let me see if I can. It's not on the cloud. Okay. So I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. Make sure. Oh. Make sure. Nobody gets in trouble. So let me show you how I did it here. So in this case, there is hard shadow. Obviously, this is also an extreme case, but there's a hard shadow being cast from the hat. And so all this gets darkened. I still have detail here, when in reality, it should be a little bit more like this because there's not enough light bouncing. It should be a little bit more muted in terms of like that because there's not enough light coming. But it's this idea, and then you let certain elements come forward because this looks like it's more forward because you get the idea that it's not under the hat, but the hand is like more forward. And see how the finger that is like the thumb is like behind and it's darkened? It gives the idea that it's like under the hat's shadow. So that's how you kind of play around with those elements. And ideally, maybe I didn't really want to, because the hat is not as big, but ideally maybe you do something like, let's do multiply, and then let's pick something like this. And then, you do something like that. It's maybe this is a bit much, but, depending on where the light's coming from, then you do something like that. But because you want to convey a lot of the information on her face, you probably just do like that. And then, there's obviously this harder shadow, but you do something like that. And then you have that. Or you can do something like a little bit more silly, like, kind of do something like that. where the hat is casting more information like this.
I
And
feel
then-
like the bigger shadow definitely like makes you pay attention to the face more.
Yeah, and that's also why I kind of simplified. Let me just get rid of that. That's also why I simplified the sleeves, because I thought it was. It didn't give the sense that it was two folded, and also I think the information is kind of conveyed the same if you just do something a little bit more loose. In here, you would want to add more folds, but I didn't want to like overcorrect, so I just left it like that. And also, you know, I added the reds there and whatever. And here on the bottom, also neglected. But again, why it's better to do it the way that I recommend, where you just add like a simple shadow, you know, like that. And then, you know, you get the idea that it's coming from, you know, shadows are being cast. And that way you don't have to worry so much about doing too much rendering. You do it simple because the information that you want is here up top. And here it's like, yeah, whatever, she has shoes. But, you know, the rest of the information where you spend a lot of time is like, you know, the whites and everything. So that's why I said, like, your stuff is it is professional grade, but there's a lot of room for refinement, because that's where professional, well, I don't even say professional level. It's just more of like, that's where like the thought process goes, where there's more intent and more thought into what's being made. Where you're more critically thinking of the choices that you're doing. Obviously for like a sketch or for like a drawing that you're going to put on Twitter, you don't have to really overthink it. But if you really want to work on a piece that you either want to convey something or it's going to be for something specific, then you have to more accurately think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how certain things affect the piece overall. What mood is important. So like, let's say you have a character that is very moody. Then obviously, you know, you want to go for cooler colors, and you would have like, you know, 90% of the palette just be a lot of, you know, cooler colors and stuff like that. And then maybe you would add some elements of red and you know, certain things like that. So you have like a 60% and then a 40%, and then the last 40% you divide like 20 and then like 30 and then maybe 10% like a different color.
I see. I mean, I think like you said, I feel like I need more intent behind what I do, because I feel like a lot of times I'm like fussing over details that probably, I don't know, like I'm like overthinking it, right? And I think, like you said, I have a lot of trouble finishing pieces because I don't know what the polish is, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I completely understandable. And I'm not saying you have to sit down like for like a complete day and like completely plan out a drawing, but you can what's the word? Like, you can start like simple, and then let's say, like, for example, for me, my fixation is the face. So if I want to spend 3 hours just sketching the face, that's because that's what's more important to me. And so I'm gonna work on the face and make sure that it's completely correct on how I want it. And then when I go color, I determine on the things that I do care about on rendering. Because sometimes, like, for example, like some furry characters, let's say, you know, you're gonna get like like fur, and instead of like drawing every line like that, right? You can probably just do this, and then, you know, do that. And for like, you know, the light areas, for the light areas, you can just go like, and that's it. You don't. It's usually finding the simplest approach, and if you don't like because it's too simple, then at that point you can go like, okay, well, we can find like a mid value, to add more. Oh, there's some blue coming in. Okay, well, let's grab this. Let's blend a little bit, and then we can add some blue in here. And that's when you go and then you start deciding. But always start simple, and then go up from there, because sometimes you tend to like, just in general, artists tend to like, oh, I'm gonna like do this crazy render and stuff like that. When in reality, start small, and then like when they get to the end, I was like, oh, maybe this is too much. It's always better to like start simple and then go more complicated. And with colors, typically I don't ever recommend using black or white, because once you get here or here, it's too much. It's harder to go back. So usually it's better to find either a color around here that'll make this look black, or something, or approximate. You want to like work around it, because if you go further than that, it sometimes can ruin things. However, in certain cases, for things that are really stylized, you can actually like, oh, you know what? I'll give you an example. So let's say this Ryan is colored. Instead of like doing the lines for the maid dress, just do you think it?
Man. Yeah, I mean, you can see it fill in without even the line there.
Yeah, you don't even have to have it, and then you add like a. You don't even have to have these lines. Like, you already give the shape, right? And then what you can do is just add some simple shadows like this.
That's awesome.
Look at
That's
that.
Awesome. What?
There you go.
Magic. You're literally doing magic right now. Tricking the mind.
There you go. Yeah. Then like, it's sometimes like the simplest approach is the best. And like even here, for example, because for example, okay, you have the sword, and if you have it cut, I think maybe in this case not so much, but if you do this, and then maybe have this just there, the sword is already cut. You already know that there's information here, and your brain's just like filling it. And even there, like like you said, oh my god, I'm filling in the space. So sometimes having negative space helps more. Like, granted, I don't know how to play so much with negative space, because it's not easy, but there's an example of how to play with negative space, where you're just letting the information that's available, let the brain just do the rest. And I can't think, like, even here I would just do this. No, here I would leave it because that's important. But some artists just like know how to play it with it really well. Because sometimes you can see like some people just leave complete information there, add some shadows, and then you'll see like the skin is like super rendered and stuff like that, but then like the clothing is like just very simply done. So it's playing around with what you have, and then thinking about like, what is the laziest way I can do something but it still looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's my ultimate goal some days, to just have it look very nice, and knowing what I can do to make a piece look finished.
Yeah, I'll be honest, the saw piece, the coloring took me like maybe 2 hours.
Oh man, that's so crazy.
Because
insane.
Because all I did was like, okay, actually the tail took me the longest, because I was trying to figure out how I can convey the scales, and I was like looking around and stuff like that, and then I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna add like a gradient here, there, and then like some lines here, and then that's it. And then I found like a scale texture brush, and then I like one swipe, and that's it. So but the reason is like because I just focused on, like, I did take a while on the face, but then the rest I just made sure that because I already had an idea of how I wanted to render it and what I wanted to do, and just make it look simple. And it's not because like it's not, honestly, if like there was other elements like sweat and all that kind of stuff, I would probably have taken more. But I don't think it was important to have something like Sauce Poster like be over rendered, because I just wanted something that's fun to look at, and then I could do some like really cool post corrections. Like, let me show you something really cool I did for Gaz.
Okay.
So I'm gonna screenshot this, and I'm going to obviously like people. Okay, so this is one of my favorite things that I've done. So you see this? I did not paint. I did not paint this. So here's.
Did you put a filter over it?
Here's what I did. I went to Google Earth. I took a screenshot. I painted over certain parts because it looked weird. Obviously, like the way that they do things is a little bit weird on Google Earth. But I painted, corrected some stuff. Anything that looked kind of wonky, blurred it. Add some noise, a little bit of chromatic aberration, because also chromatic aberration gives a sense that there's a lot of light. So you can use chromatic aberration smartly if you have a strong light source. And then that's it.
That's crazy. I mean, I also kind of struggle with backgrounds, but I didn't really have a lot of background pieces to show you.
Yeah, no, I'm not very good at backgrounds. For this, I was like, okay, it needs to look painted. And admittedly, when I was like looking at it, I was like, I can't leave it like this. I need to do something with it, because it's gonna look either AI generated or it's just gonna look pretty like terrible. So I spent a good deal of time like painting over, looking at specific things. And then I realized I just need to paint the front so it looks like I put some time into like painting this. And it blends with gas. And the cool thing is I reduced the saturation on the back, because this had more color into it, but I reduced the color and I let gas be more saturated so her model pops out more. So there are clever things you can do to sort of just like, and if you look far away from it, you know, it looks, that's kind of like how it looks in this. So yeah. But yeah, that's things to consider. Holy shit. Okay. Hold on. Potato is barking.
No, potato! Hello, chat. It's just you and me now. Hehe. Bork, 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 bork. A live dog reaction. What the scallop? This has been super helpful for me.
Let me take off the potato cam because she's no longer there. So.
Aw, no more potato.
That's not it. Video capture. Where's this one? Oh, there it is. Yeah, she's not there anymore.
I feel like what's it called? There's a lot of tutorials on how to draw, like beginner or like intermediate, or like how to draw or color pieces. But there's not a lot of, at least like for me, I've only really found like maybe 4 or 5 useful videos on how to finish pieces.
Hold on. Before I forget, also, welcome, Gil. The Gilf is in chat. Welcome to the stream.
Yo, what the Gilf in chat?
Yeah.
Chat, is this real?
Chat, is this real? Let me look up the tutorials for you before I forget. Because the thing is, the tutorials that I remember is just more of like a starting point, and then from there you take it from there. Because I feel like if you go to like these really lengthy courses and stuff like that, you don't really learn anything. I don't want to say that you don't really learn anything, but it's like, I think the way that artists learn the best is that if they're giving minimum information and they keep practicing and they keep asking for feedback and how to improve and stuff. Because I think a lot of what you learn like in courses or art schools and stuff like that, they just give you like a lot of information, but I think the important part for an artist to develop is the critical thinking aspect. And it's better to learn certain like aspects of art or like design and that kind of stuff. So okay, so there is this tutorial. I'm gonna send it to you. It's this one, ambient occlusion, and then there's a part 2. You can see it there. Color theory guru. Yeah. Those are 2 tutorials that those are the ones that you should just look at. And then from there, you're going to start asking yourself like different questions of how I can do certain things and stuff like that. Or looking at artists that you're going to start noticing things. I'm like, oh, how are they doing this? Or why are they doing this? There's you know what? Understanding lighting anime. Let me see. I'm trying to think of like this. Oh, okay. So there's an artist called TPPO, and I'm gonna send you a tutorial about color and light that is really good. That you're gonna get a lot out of. On 100%. So let's see. Okay, but yeah, let's go with the. Okay, so let's look at some artists that you sent me. I'm just gonna show you, for example, Lack. So we can go over some of the things that I went over. So you see how Lack in this particular piece has here. I made some notes. So super detailed and simple. So simple is the skin areas. And then everything else is super detailed. Look how like clothing is super rendered. There's a very detailed gun. The hair has different colors and stuff like that. But then the skin is like 1, 2, 3, just 4 tones at most. And it's very simply done. It has hard shadows, mostly hard shadows actually. Because here there's hard shadows. Here's there's only 1 tone. Some light bouncing on here to give you the sense of a cleavage, etc. And here you have like very simply done for like thigh squish, minimally done, and then but everything around the skin, like the strap and then the needle, is very detailed. So those are ways you can play. Look at this guy. Hard lighting. See how like all this is just one solid color.
Yeah.
Here, for example, like hard lighting, not a lot of detail, but then the rest of it has like some light bouncing from it everywhere. The deeper, the more like lower it goes, the less detail it gets. Look how like sketchy it's starting to look, because that's not important detail. Like what you're looking at is the crotch and above, specifically here. Like the face has a lot of detail to it, and even this is like sketchy, kind of like almost like not entirely like a rhythm to it. But when you look at it from afar, it looks really fluffy, but it has no lines, no anything. It's just sketching. And then the eyes, for example, look how there's a lot of greens, a lot of yellows, and a lot of similar tonality, but then the eyes really stand out because it's like just a red. There's only ever 2 uses of red here. The eyes are like a fuchsia, and then the crotch area has like a roulette, which has like a red. So your eyes are kind of stuck in this area here.
Yeah.
And then, for example, here, look at how like the element in the background has less saturation, and this character pops out more. And look at the leg here that has like the gradient effect.
Yeah,
and when,
the gradient you showed me.
Yeah, and look at like the effect of like it's not even detailed; it's just sketchy. But when you look at it, oh my god, this is so detailed. But when you look at it, it's like, what the fuck? And then everything else here is like very like well rendered, like the face, the hair, but everything else is just sketch. Yeah. So let's see. The first artist you sent to me was Kinako.
Yes, I love this artist. I love the way they use lines.
Every line has a purpose for this artist. There is no waste. There is no waste here. And you know, the rendering, they don't use a lot of colors. It's just two tones normally. Like, you know.
Yeah. I feel like they really know how to use like the shading where it needs to be.
Exactly. That's where the simplification comes in, where it's important to keep it simple, but if you get simple, it also gets complicated because you need to know where the important shadows are being cast.
Right.
And here, the knee. That's all you need to know, and you get the sense that it's forward because here you get like a shadow, and here there's a hard shadow which pushes her to the back instead of letting these elements to the front because they're lighter. And so there's less shadow on the face because that's where the artist wants you to look at. Let's see here, Kizaru. So the coat, it looks like there would be rendering, but there's nothing. It's just lines everywhere. It's nothing.
Yeah,
and
not even like colored. It's just the white.
Yeah, it's just the white. And look how here it ends, but you still think there's like something going on there.
Right.
And yeah, there's a lot to it. And here they did something, you know, you get the sense that there's depth. So everything is purposeful. Here, for example, very cute. There are some, you know, some details here and there. But you get the sense that, you know, nothing is wasted here. Very simple lines. When you get close, there's not a ton. But then the rest of their shading and stuff does like the heavy lifting.
Yeah, I really love artwork that's like clean because it's like even though it looks like it's simple, like you can obviously tell the artist has been drawing for a very, very long time.
Thanks for stopping by, Tiger.
Thank you for coming.
Love you too. Take care. Yeah, everything is good. Let's see what's the next one. Nino egging. Also,
yeah, Nino.
Also, very, very simple. Like, a lot of like what I'm looking here is just post correction because here there's not a ton of rendering going on. Everything's just like laid out simply, and the simplicity helps like define the shapes. There's hard shadows in important places, and it's a very good use of color. The eyes are very attractive because you're looking at this, and it's like the most it's like the lightest part of the drawing. I like how hard the shadows being cast on the back. It's very, very good. I like how this plushie is there, and you get the sense of like what the shapes are, but it's very dark because it's not terribly important for you to look at, but to know that it's there. And here, for example, I know this is maybe like a work in progress, but it already looks very good because it's not using a ton of shading, and you already know what you're looking at. You know, shading here and stuff, and even the lines are like wonky, but you like when you look at it from afar, it's like, oh, this looks great.
Yeah, it looks really clean.
Yeah, and that's what's important. Let's see. Yoshio. Yoshio, I like this. This is very some of the stuff that you sent me. This is perfect. Also very purposeful lines. minimal use of shading. It's only where it matters. Like nothing on the shirt, but on the face, because it wants you to look at its tired face. And I like that there is no definition of the shape. Like there's a shape, but there's no like lines or anything defining it. You just get the idea from looking at the way that the clothing. And look at this. Like even the separation of the legs, there's only like one line, and then the rest is like filled in by your brain, and you get the idea that one is in front of the other, and that's the only reason why that's there. Very cute style, and I think there's a lot. Like even for like the necklace and stuff, you don't have to see it directly connect behind, but you get the idea that the necklace is going behind the neck.
Yeah, you can kind of see like, oh yeah, the fabric is folding over even though there's no detail.
Yeah, that's cool stuff that you can definitely take away from, and very, very good examples.
Heck yeah. I love
Ariel.
this artist.
Ariel, okay. See the simplification stuff that we were talking about? You're getting a sense of the folds, but look at what these are. That's it.
Yeah, it's just one color.
Yeah, it's just one color. And they focused a lot on the midriff, where like you get a lot of you get a lot of detail here. And even the face is kind of simple because it's just like one heart.
The face is so simple compared to the
midriff, yeah.
The where you're supposed to be looking.
Yeah, they're like, no, this is what you should be looking at. Forget about everything else. And even the face, like you don't even need to worry about getting a depth, like having like the shadows, because really what this is supposed to be is more like pick a darker color. Really, in reality, it should be like this. Like there is like a shadow coming here. This is how it actually should be. But you don't really need to do that. The important thing is that it's simple. And it's a stylistic choice, which is very important. And here, there is more rendering going on, but the hair is like solid black almost entirely. And you don't need, like, you could like go as far as just doing like this, and then because that's what they did basically. They just like some lines here and there, and then define this and stuff, and then this part, clearly a little lighter to give a sense of depth. And then here they didn't even bother to add like nothing like that. It's just black.
Yeah, it's just solid black,
because this is what matters. This part here is what's important. All right, thanks for stopping by, Vodka. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Ikuda. Okay, so this artist I both like and kind of have a problem with, but it's mostly not. They don't have anything wrong with their art. It's just more of a personal thing that I feel like I'm being visually attacked, but it's not for anything wrong. It's just there's a lot of information to process.
Right.
And everything is great because it's cohesive. A lot of it is very rendered, well done. There's a lot of cool information, cool stuff. I like the attention to detail. For me personally, I don't typically enjoy things that have a lot of information to look at, even though it's fun to look, because you're like, oh, look at this, like, the boob mouse pad, there's like the pudding, there's the mouse, everything has depth. There's like, this part is like so cool, like the screen part, like I like that a lot. You get a sense of like the stretch and the weight to certain things, and a lot of it is very well done. And that's very cool if you want to do pieces that have a lot of information. I think the important part is learning what parts to. So, for example, what do these two pieces have in common?
The green being the focal point?
Yeah. Me.
Yeah.
And then look at everything else. it's purposely letting you guide, like it's guiding the eye. Green. There's very little use of like this saturated green, except only here. Like even there's some yellow here, but it's like, you know, in combination with these things, and it has like a lot of stuff, but it's not as saturated. And then this green is like, when you look at it from afar, it like jumps at you. But I think this is important for it to compete, because I think maybe there's something going on there. And in here, the important part is that it wants you to look at this, because this is being stretched and this character's coming out from the green zone. And not like a lot of information here, you know, is delivered, but this is important for you to look at, and that's why this is just not even rendered at any capacity, this green area, because it's not, you know, it's going to take away from it.
Like whenever I look at these pieces, I kind of feel pain, because I'm like, damn, they spent so much time on this.
Yeah. And again, okay, and then we reviewed this, but again, it usually is really dependent on what your goal or what your target is, because a lot of these pieces are amazing to look at. And you know, I'm sure they can go viral and that kind of stuff, but the problem is that when you make a piece for social media, the reason why simpler drawings or character focused drawings do the best is because people really have a short attention span, and people are kind of like scrolling through, and people don't necessarily stop and look. And so if your goal is to be more of a social media artist, or an artist that focus on being viral and doing these sort of things, being more focused on character drawings, pinups, merch related content, and that kind of stuff has a very different weight to it. This kind of stuff for print, amazing. This would do very solid. It wouldn't do very well because people would have to stop for so long to look at something and try to understand what's being conveyed to them. Versus if you have text or a comic or something like that, people have something simple to look at. That's not to say it can't or not. Like it could do well. I'm not like disputing or anything. I think that what you want to do in the long term is very important for your development as an artist, because let's say you're an installation artist, and you want to do these museum installation pieces where you want to set up structure and stuff like that, and instead of focusing on wood, you want to focus on metal. And so you will learn how to work with metal, how to design something specifically in a more industrial engineering capacity and that kind of stuff. So you would focus your efforts on it. It's not to say that maybe this person wouldn't be good at drawing portraits. It's just that their specialization and the things that they want to focus on is specifically on that. So for me specifically, I focus a lot on character designs and stuff like that. I know very basic about background design and stuff like that, because throwing my characters in a white void gets old pretty quick. But if you focus on something that you really want to get good at, so let's say what is your long-term goal as an artist? I guess it's better to ask you. Do you have anything specific? Like, do you want to work conventions, or do you want to eventually work on a comic, or do you eventually want to work on a game or something like that?
I honestly don't have a lot of big goals for my art. I wanted to do comics, I wanted to do game art, but then again, I don't know, it's hard for me to focus on something for too long. I think what would be nice is maybe have my art for, I guess, like commercial purposes.
Okay.
So like maybe they hang it up somewhere, or maybe it's like a fashion promotion or whatever. I think that would be pretty cool. I
Okay.
guess like maybe that sort of purpose is like what I think about sometimes. I don't know. I'm just drawing because I don't know. I've been doing it for so long, and it's just still something that I do, and it's like, oh, I can make a little bit of money with this.
Okay. I mean, obviously, like sometimes it's hard to like answer because I didn't really like as a kid. For example, I usually thought that I wanted to do like anime or do like a manga. But
Right.
as I grew older, I started to realize how much of a pain comics are.
Yeah, it really is.
And I realized that I don't read as much manga or I don't read as much anime or like watch as much anime, but I do play a lot of video games. And I started to understand that, oh, I really, really love video games. And that's when I started thinking, I want to make video games. And the art for video games is somewhat different that you would make art for maybe like a manga or an anime or like even for social media purposes because it has a very different purpose. It's a lot more like I can't be over rendering sprite characters or a visual novel because it's a complete waste of time because I mean you can do it. That's completely fine if you want to go for that and do like a very paint early stuff. But if I'm gonna have like 20 different characters with each different expressions, that will put a significant indent in my production pipeline. It might extend my release date for a few months or something like that. So you have to be very production oriented. You have to think about everything that you're working on because at the end of the day, something that you do experimentally can either reduce or increase your workflow. So you have to work within the limitations of what you can't do. And then you also have to think about certain things like, is this important to do or does this need to be added to the game or does so the art creation and also like if you're doing CG scenes, mood is incredibly important because if you have a scene where like let's say a character dies, you can't draw it like brightly colored and stuff like that. I haven't played it, but something that comes to mind is the Doki Doki Literature Club, where where that one scene where that one character game ends herself. It's completely dark. It's dimly.
Game ends. I don't know. I've never heard anybody say it like that.
It's I'm trying to be friendly.
YouTube friendly.
But it's dimly lit. It's dark. It's not like played for laughs, like visually and that kind of stuff. So there, because it goes with the mood swing that the game goes. It's like, oh fuck, there's like a turning point. And so there's there's an important intent with that. And so there's a lot of things that you have to consider versus doing pinups where you don't have to consider too many things other than like maybe how you're gonna make the piece, what information do you want to have in there and that kind of stuff. So very different because they have both different ends commercially or whatever. And if you're gonna do a lot of convention stuff and whatever, you kind of have to think about what makes sense for you. Like you have to think about if you're making standees, like when it goes to print, like is it important to have all these elements? Is the coloring correct? Or like you have to think about what's trendy in the stuff, and like they're very different. They're not entirely different, but there's differences that are important to consider because thankfully a lot of these things kind of like blend with one another. But it's like, for example, if you're going to be a furry artist, obviously you need to learn how to make animals, how to draw muzzles and that kind of stuff. But if you're just going to draw people, then I mean, just don't worry so much about it. And then you'll, but it really depends on the things that you really enjoy, the things that you really like drawing. I meander between human characters, furry sometimes, like furry a lot, and then also like I do like drawing Kemono Mimi characters, so I sometimes will look at how certain animal ears look. Like if I'm drawing a horse character, then I will look into like how the ears, study the ears and stuff like that, because that's one feature that I like doing. And then I try to consider also, or when I draw centaurs, like I will pull up like horse references and make sure that I kind of like understand the anatomy. It doesn't have to be 100%, but it has to get close where it's like it can pass off and I can stylistically make some stuff easier for me because horses aren't very easy to draw. So so it's just stuff like that like if there's things that you like, certain themes and stuff, like you can start focusing. And again, like, you know, I hyperfixate on the faces, so I will spend a lot of time trying to improve my faces and my expressions. But let's say for you, you like drawing a lot of, I don't know, let's say just hypothetically like Ariel, like a lot of midriffs and stuff like that, then maybe like maybe you learn how to like the rib cage works and how like light reflects looking at real models, how light bounces off that area, how the bone structure helps shape the skin and stuff like that. So there's a lot. I could go on forever, but I think you're there, man. It's just more of like you starting to define yourself of what you really like as an artist, where to push yourself more, how to refine certain things, knowing when to ask for advice, or knowing to know, like, it's okay to ask for opinions, like, and be like, is this, do you think this would look cool or this? And then just being, no, like, asking for feedback in that capacity, because I know some people are like, they get stuck or they get kind of lazy about certain things, and they're like, well, not really sure how to do it, but they don't normally like asking questions. I sometimes will ask 10 or 20 times because I'm very critical of myself, and so I usually will go and ask people like, no, that's fine, or like, try this, and then I do something different and that kind of stuff. So yeah, but I think all in all, I think that's kind of like my overall advice, my overall impression and stuff like that. And I think, again, you're doing good. It's just the rest is up to you, really.
Yeah, I gotta figure it out, and I feel like I'm kind of like directionless when it comes to things I want to do with my art. Like, I've been like, oh, I want to do manga, and then I was like, oh, what if I did character design, and then like, oh, what if I did this instead? It's like I'm just not sure what to do with myself. I feel like, if I really, like you said, like you hyperfixate on like, oh, making the face as nice as possible. I think I don't know, there's like a more clear direction on what I need to focus on. I think maybe my goal for my drawings at the moment is to make nice illustrations, probably mainly for social media, just so I can earn commissions from it and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's my current goal, I would say.
Now is the time for you to experiment too. Like, whenever you have time to do stuff that you want to make, just experiment, and don't be afraid to like do something that'll take you, between commissions or stuff like that, that'll take you a bit, where like you can mess around, and if it doesn't work, you can move on to something else, and not something that you have to think so much about. It's just stuff that for you it's fun, and you can try different things. And if there's an artist that there's a really cool I don't know if you're familiar with an artist called Naoki Saito.
Yeah, I watch his videos all the time.
He has a program that is like a 3-month program that it's a self-study thing, but you pick an artist that you really, really, really like. I did it in a month, and it helped a lot. You pick an artist that is like a huge inspiration for you. It's like one of the best artists for you, and then what you do is you try to replicate their style, and then you do a drawing like entirely in their style. And then when you're done, you look at it and I'm like, why isn't as good as theirs? And then you start to break it down. You start picking things up. Like, let's say you do something in the style of Kinako, and then you're like, oh, why isn't it coming out like their stuff? and then you start picking up, okay, well, it's because my lines aren't as clean. I'm sketching too much instead of thinking of like where to put the lines, or I'm over rendering, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that, or my composition isn't right. And then you start, and then you do it again another week, and you come back and then review. Okay, what did I do wrong, or what did I do good or wrong this time? And then you keep doing it several times until you get to a point where it's like very close to their style, and you've learned a lot, and then you move on, because then you start picking on things that are more closely associated with things you find troubling or that aren't like actually not working with you, than like trying to figure out like, well, I just need to improve this because whatever. This kind of stuff like shows like the gap between the artist that you like and yourself, or sometimes helps close it, because I picked Asanagi for mine, and even though like I'm not a fan hugely of a lot of the themes that they draw all the time, I do love their style. And as I kept doing it, I realized that I wanted to get better at faces, and I kept approximating their style, but then I realized, okay, these are things that I need to start working on, and start thinking of the eye more critically, start thinking of the face more of the shape, that there's bones behind this, because a lot of artists just draw in a certain way because they've seen it drawn, or because they have a general idea of how things are looked, without thinking more critically. No, there's a skull in here, and this placement wouldn't make any sense because the eye actually has to go here, or there are things where you start working and you start hammering out when you do something like that. I do recommend trying that out. You never know.
Yeah, I definitely will try to do that.
Yeah, just pick someone, and then like on your off time, just try to draw like an artist that you really like, and then maybe something might come out of it. You never know.
Yeah. That seems like a really helpful study.
Yeah, it did really help me a lot. Let me see if I can find what I did for a good example. Personal backup, study. I think it might have been this one. Hold on, let me see if this I can share. I mean, okay, hold on. I think maybe I think maybe on mine I was like very hard, but because there's a lot of lines, I think it should be fine. So Asanagi's on the left. And my attempt is on the right.
I see. Well, that's a really good attempt.
Yeah, it's because I mean, like, it's a good attempt because you're kind of like critically looking at what they're doing, and you're kind of like, okay, I need to do this because that's the way they do things or whatever. But I ended up understanding a lot of stuff where I was falling off from, and for example, fat folds. I need to understand how fat fold works, how fat develops on the body, and not necessarily that I need to look at it scientifically. It's just remember. Gravity's a thing, and you know, when something like skin dentation, think about it more closely, and generally there is more fat on the inner thigh than it is on the outer thigh. So if you're gonna have something that squishes your legs or the legs that you're drawing, typically a lot of the fat accumulates in the inner thigh, so it would press a lot because there's more muscle on the quad, generally speaking, so you're going to have less of a squish on the quad or on the outer side of the thigh. Same, you know, there's a lot of stuff like, you know, the head is the right size, head ratio I have a lot of trouble with. You know, there was a lot here that kind of didn't go necessarily right because I did an approximation of their style, but there were a lot of stuff that was off on on a basic artistic level that I needed to work on. And so that's one of the things that I started working on and starting to take a more look into, or hide my shortcomings. If I had too much trouble in a piece and I'm like, all right, well, what I can do is like, if the hand is giving me so much trouble, then what I'm going to do is hide it in like a clever way. Not like, oh, right behind the ass, or like, or put something on top of it. Maybe like the clothing is too long and it covers mostly everything, and like you can only see the fingers or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of an example of it. I don't really. I think I don't really have much to add, because I think at this point I would probably be just talking way too much. I don't know if you if you have anything you want to ask, or if you have anything, any remarks or whatever.
I thought this was super helpful. I think like one of the things I really need is like constructive criticism on my art, because like I don't really have a lot of people that I could just like go to and be like, can you like critique this in like a professional way? Because I think a lot of me and my friends that I'm kind of close to all learned art on our own, and haven't really been like given like the advice or tools to like study properly, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this has been like super helpful, and I definitely like will probably come to you in the future for advice. Be like, oh, did I do like the simplification thing correct that you suggested? Like, what do you think about like the shading here or whatnot?
Yeah.
How do I make the colors more interesting? I just thought this was super helpful. I hope this is helpful for everybody who's watching right now as well. Because I don't know, like a lot of these things is like, oh, I've never heard these tips before. They're helping me so much, because I'm just now starting to realize.
Yeah, you can always send me a DM, and I can always look at whatever it is that you want me to look at, or if it's something like Y&M or Y&E related, you can always like tag me on it. I'm one of those people that doesn't mind being tagged, so
okay.
On my Discord server, I tell people like, you can tag me at any time and I can try to take a look at it. Sometimes I get pretty busy, so I don't mind being reminded, hey, do you still have time to look at this? And then I will look at it whenever I get a second, because I know there's a lot of people that do want to. As much as art is there's a lot of artists out there. I think it would be cool if there's a lot more creative people out there, and I think not everybody's like out there to like. A lot of artists like have this like weird approach to where like, oh, they're not here to take my job, and I'm like, I don't really see it as that. I think a lot of people just want a creative outlet, and I want people to learn, because when I was coming up, I didn't really have that much of an environment for people to like critically view my work, or they would tell me like, oh, it's good, yeah, you're doing fine, but but I always,
which is like nice to hear, but it's not very helpful.
Yeah, I always like asking people, and like I remember one of the things that kind of changed my life a lot with my art is that it was my first convention. I was tabling at a niche convention, and this artist that I really, really have been following for many years, I gave him my first dojin, and I'm like, hey, I really love your work, and this is my first dojin, I hope you like it. And it was just like, that's what I idolized the guy, and just give me my comic or whatever. Like an hour later, he comes over, and keep in mind, this guy has like about 30 dojins under his belt. And
whoa.
He comes in with 2 boxes. One for me and one for my friend that was tabling with me. And he said to me, I am so happy that you love my work, but I am even more happy that you were cool enough to give me your first dojin for free, and he gave me his entire collection of just old dojins.
No way.
And he was just telling me, like, you know, he was just like, hey, you have a lot of potential here, even if you don't stick with comics. I think I like a lot of the theming and a lot of the stuff that you're doing. You know, keep it up. And, you know, it was a really motivating talk. And that helped me push to keep going. And, yeah, sadly, I had to get rid for a lot of it because I eventually, at some point, had to return back from Japan. But, and like, I didn't want to get into trouble, you know, having like adult comics. I managed to ship a lot of my stuff to the United States before I came home, and when I got the box in the US, I had to throw away a lot of stuff because a lot of stuff was like, you know, it wasn't like anywhere near lolly or that kind of stuff. It was just that I don't think I can properly explain some of the stuff to like an officer.
Yeah, okay, that's understandable.
Yeah, it was really funny. So I was just like, I'm getting rid of a lot of the stuff because I don't think.
Just in case.
Yeah, I kept his manga series that is, you know, not necessarily for all ages, but it's not adult. But it was just funny that I was just like very upset. But I had to do it. So I think that was like a pivotal moment for me, and it was like one of the few times where someone like approached me and told me like, hey, listen, like, you know, like actually talk to me like an adult, because I think a lot of professionals or a lot of people that are really talented and stuff like that, they're not very good teachers, or they're not very good at like handling this kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, it's good. Or like they'll do one thing, or you can do this. Thankfully, I've been friends with a lot of people that are very good at doing some red lines for me or explaining certain things. Or, you know, if I ask them for a piece of advice, they don't just tell me like how to do it, but they actually like, you know, explain to me why something is done a certain way. And that's
hard. That's really hard.
That's hard to find, especially also when a lot of people that you are learning with, they're kind of at the same level where you're just like, I don't know, man. So that's why a lot of the times where like there's something that I don't understand, I will ask, and then I will later on do my homework to try to understand, because I'm not very good at seeing things in a written form. I either have to do it or I have to see someone else do it. So typically I'll go and look at a YouTube video of someone drawing or someone explaining of why something is a certain way, because I can't, someone can't just tell me something. I actually have to do it and give it a shot. Otherwise it's just not going to stick. And when someone hands you something, normally you forget about it. But if you have to work for it or like go out of your way to learn it, you tend to retain that information a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of art is like muscle memory, you know.
It's just doing.
Like, I don't know, like in the beginning, I remember learning art, like I had to think so hard, but these days, like it just goes by so fast because I already know what I want to do.
But yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the fun part. I think just the part now that's going to be the hardest for you is just refining on a personal level your own goals. And then because I gave you advice, but it's up to you to see where you want to keep pushing your art, because it's not that you need to specifically veer into one direction, but it's more of like where you want to start taking your work or what you want to start going. Because if you want to do, for example, you want to start going more the Kinako road, for example, where you want your art to be very expressive and flowy, then there is certainly one way. I just remembered an artist, but I can't. Hold on. Let me look at my. I have a box with art books. I'm trying to remember their name. Let's see. Hold on. I think I remember. Well, I can't find them. I forgot their name, but they have something similar to Kinako. But it's a lot of detail. They use a lot of like bright colors and stuff like that. Let me go to. Okay, I'm gonna go to my Amazon. Japan account because I remember buying their art book from there. So let's see.
All good.
Oh, Kafun or Kahun.
I
Kafun.
don't think I've heard of them.
Here. If I show you, you're gonna know.
Oh, okay.
Because they're very popular. So it's this artist. Kofi.
Oh my god, sorry. I almost just stabbed myself in the foot with my pencil. I've been taking notes.
Let me see.
Wait, where are you sending? Is it in the DMs?
No, it's in the in my stream.
Oh, okay, hold on. It's loading. It's a bit of a lag. Oh, there it is. I see it. Oh, actually, I don't think I've ever seen this artist before.
Look at some of the. I'm gonna send you a link here.
Okay.
But this artist does amazing work. A lot of amazing detail, and they're doing a lot of scab commissions.
That's crazy that they're doing a lot of scabs, because I don't know, they look like they would take forever to draw.
They also published an art book this year, so
wow.
I don't know.
I'm looking at like their media tab, and it's just so full of lines.
Yeah, it's crazy. Their lines do most of the heavy lifting. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I love this artist. One of these days I want to try learning from their style, but it's like I have to not only try to get a close approximation to their brush, but I also have to rethink like a graphic novel artist with a lot of the line work and stuff. But it's very good. Like they have a lot of detail, but it doesn't feel overwhelming.
I think it's really cool. It's just really fun to look at.
Yeah, it's very lively. I really like it. So I don't know. You could take also look at them and then like try to learn a little bit of them. Maybe find something that catches your eye.
Yeah, of course. Because I think like I definitely enjoy line work more than coloring. But of course, like color is what makes a piece look finished.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes color isn't necessary to complete a piece. So it just depends really. Like if you're doing like a black and white piece with grayscales and stuff, you don't need colors. You just need to understand a little bit of the tones and stuff. Because sometimes what is frustrating is not necessarily the coloring, is the values. When you're trying to figure out where to lay the shadows and stuff like that. So there's a whole world of different artists to look at, to learn, and that's kind of like your own homework to do and to like try to learn, try to get information from, etc. So
alrighty.
Yeah, we've been going on for almost 3 hours, and I just realized I probably need to do something. Let me see if I don't have.
It's all good. It's all good. I think we're pretty much at a stopping point now. We've gone over pretty much everything. The artists, the art advice.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of here for people to pick. Again, you can always just like send me a message if there's something that you want more information of, or if you want me to look at something that you're working on.
Okay.
I like helping people out, giving them advice. So it also helps me because then I start thinking more about the stuff that I'm doing, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I'm doing this. Okay. And then like the next time I go to work on something, I eventually do it. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything you want to say to people? Like, it was pretty cool of you to like, reach out. I was pleasantly surprised because I haven't really thought about collabing with anyone in a while, and this was pretty cool because this is more of within my realm, and it's
yeah.
So
I mean, I reached out because whenever I was hanging out with Mark and Jupiter at the convention I was at, I think they mentioned like, oh, I was saying, I'm always so shy to reach out for collabs. And I think either Mark or Jupiter told me, oh yeah, like Roz is looking to do more collab content or whatnot. I was like, you know what? I think Roz is awesome, so I'm gonna reach out. And I'm really glad we had this collab. So I don't know. I think like I don't know. I think you're so cool, and I think everybody in like YNM and YNE are so cool. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel always like a little intimidated to reach out to them, but I don't know. We're all just nerds.
It was Mark. It's your so much design, yeah.
Yeah, whatever, Mark. Give yourself all the credit, dog.
Yeah. Maybe next time we can play like a silly game or something like that.
Yeah, we could do anything. I do not mind.
Yeah, we need to get more people in here.
Of course. I know for a fact that Sui would be so down. He would be so down.
Yeah, we need to get him over here.
Yeah, you could just talk to him all the time. He's so friendly.
Oh, we could play Uno.
Uno? You better watch out. I'm pretty good at Uno, okay?
I am evil at Uno because my goal is not to win.
No, that is kind of evil though.
My goal is not to win, it's to pick a target.
No! If I'm targeted, it's so over. Monopoly is actually gonna make me lose my mind though.
Anything that is tabletop, I love.
Friendship destroying games. I never talk about Roz ever again.
Mario Party? Oh my god, Mario Party. Remember that game? I told you it's still in development. It's still fairly solid. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a lot we can do, but we can discuss it more because so many ideas. I want to get more of the YNM people to like stream together and stuff like that because I think we can collaborate more, not just artistically, but just to hang out.
Yeah, everyone's so nice. I don't know, like surprisingly nice.
Yeah, everyone, if you haven't checked YNM or YNE, Lena and I do work and for a merch company called Yoronomachi. Yoronechi is the adult version. I think some people on my stream know what that is because I've shilled my merch. But we do stuff for them. I'm very grateful for them because they've been super awesome. Great people to work with, and I do recommend checking out their stuff. They put out high quality merch, and I'm not just saying that because I make stuff with them. Genuinely, actually, they do give a shit about what they're making, and so please give them a check. By the same name on Twitter and on wherever else you can find them. They're writing on YouTube. Can't believe we're grateful, and a lot of artists there are super talented and make so much cool stuff. And we also have a lot of cool collaboration projects coming up that a lot of you are gonna find out soon. We're gonna be at Offkai, so if you guys go there, you're gonna find us there, and you're all I've made two Offkai exclusive posters for Gas and Sa, if you know who they are, really cool VTubers.
They're really nice.
They're really nice.
They're so awesome.
They're gonna be limited content for that. So if you come out, you might get yourself rewarded. So I'll have more information about that on Twitter, and so will the respective ladies and Y&M. So keep an eye out for that. But Lena, again, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you reaching out. Let me make sure that I give you another shout out so that people know where to find you here.
Yay.
I've
been playing Link to the Past lately, so
I had your stream in the background the other day.
Oh, that's so embarrassing because I was doing really weird things on stream. But I mean, if you like Link to the Past, that's what I'm playing lately. We're in the dark world at the moment. I think we need like 3 more crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played that game in a while, but I tagged you on the chat. And everyone, check them out. Pretty cool. And if you're in my Discord server and you want more art advice, always feel free to tag me or ask me anything. I will try to respond. Obviously, I'm only one horse, so sometimes I get overwhelmed and I get busy. But when doesn't Lena do weird things in her stream?
Oh, come on. I'm so normal, guys. Yeah, Roz, I'm so normal, right?
Yeah. Listen.
So normal.
One of my first streams, I ordered Taco Bell and I got like the XL grill burrito, and my comment was, "I bet you I can stuff this entire thing down my gullet." and I admittedly I choked. I for like 5 minutes I could not like.
No.
So we talked about fluids at the beginning of one stream. Yes.
Wait, what did we? See, I don't even remember. They remember the weird stuff more than I do.
People will remind me of stuff that I've said, and I'm like, I don't remember ever saying that.
I don't remember because I'm just saying whatever comes to my mind, and that's kind of awful, honestly.
That's what happens with streams.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Don't forget to bully Roz. What? I don't know. I don't think I could ever bully Roz. I see Roz as like senpai.
my chat or like my people that follow me or have known me like for a while, they just will nonstop pick on me. I mean I don't mind it, but like I can't ever say anything with them like flipping it on me. So
don't worry. I'll let you bully me and Uno.
I look forward to waging war in Uno.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hope you. Go take care of whatever you gotta take care of. I don't know what it is.
I need to go take care of my dogs, and I also have to go eat because I haven't eaten, and I think I need to do something for Y&E. I just forgot. Thank you so much. Again, Lena, this is very fun. I know
wait.
Yeah.
Roz, how hungry?
Oh, hungry. I get
hungry.
it.
Okay,
I'll do it in a write-in voice. How hungry, Ross. This isn't my taco. All right.
I'm so hungry I could eat a. All right.
Have a good one, Lena. Thank you for hanging out. Everyone.
See ya.
Everyone have a wonderful night. See you guys next stream. Bye.